Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent Independence Day address. And it was long.
Ah, right. Those speeches are always major statements.
Exactly. This wasn't just, ceremony. It felt like a strategic declaration, a real window into India's thinking right now.
Their global stance, their future plans.
Precisely.
आजादी का ये महापर्व 140 करोड़ संकल्पों का पर्व है। आजादी का ये पर्व सामूहिक सिद्धियों का गौरव का पल है और हृदय उमंग से भरा हुआ है। देश एकता की भावना को निरंतर मजबूती दे रहा है। 140 करोड़ देशवासी आज तिरंगे के रंग में रंगे हैं। हर घर तिरंगा, भारत के हर कोने से, चाहे रेगिस्तान हो या हिमालय की चोटियां, समंदर के तट हो या घनी आबादी वाले क्षेत्र।
The absolute core, the most intense part of Modi's speech.
Let me guess. Self-reliance at Maniravarat.
Spawn on. That call for self-reliance. It wasn't just mentioned. It was fervent. Almost zealous, you could say.
It's a huge ambition, isn't it? Reshaping the whole economy.
Totally. It aims to touch everything, from the very basics right up to high tech. And Modi was incredibly explicit. He basically said everything. Fertilizers, sure, but also jet engines, EV batteries.
Wow, so really advanced stuff too.
All of this should be manufactured right there in India. The vision is just huge. Missiles, drones for defense.
Okay, so military hardware.
Yep. And then also things like their own social media platforms, even exploring the deep sea and space.
So it's defense, it's tech, it's resources.
The message is crystal clear. India wants to do it all itself. And he wasn't subtle. The source quoted some really strong language. He literally said, being dependent on other countries is a recipe for disaster.
That's blunt. No room for misinterpretation there.
None. And he added, to build a truly self-reliant India, we must achieve energy independence.
Which is huge, given their import bill.
Massive, yeah. And then underlining another key area, we have to be self-reliant in critical minerals too.
Ah, the building blocks for modern tech. That's crucial. Chips, batteries, renewables.
Exactly. Dependency there is a major strategic vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Especially with today's supply chains.
Absolutely. So what's fascinating here, I think, is how this whole self-reliance push goes beyond just, making things locally.
How so?
Well, it really reflects a much broader strategic shift for India. It's not just about widgets and factories, though that's part of it.
Right.
It feels like a fundamental rethink of India's place in the global supply chain, maybe driven by lessons from the pandemic, other global shocks.
Yeah, seeing those vulnerabilities firsthand.
Exactly. It's like a nation deciding to build its own fortress, maybe, in a world that still talks a lot about openness and connection.
That's a good analogy. Building a fortress.
It's about securing their interests, boosting internal innovation, asserting more economic sovereignty. It's not just policy. It feels like a core strategic need for them, building resilience.
Fortress, resilience. But, in a world this interconnected, is total self-reliance even possible?
Yeah.
Or desirable for a major economy?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't it risk isolation? Maybe even slowing down innovation if you try to do everything yourself.
Well, I don't think they're aiming for complete North Korea-style isolation. It's more about reducing critical dependencies.
Okay, targeted self-reliance.
Sort of. They know global trade has benefits, but they want to minimize where other countries might have leverage over them. Strategic sectors, mainly.
Makes sense.
The innovation risk is real, sure. Competition drives progress. But India seems to be betting on its huge domestic market, its talent pool, to generate that spark internally.
So a gamble, maybe?
It's a very delicate balancing act, a tightrope walk, you could say, between staying open and fortifying the home base.
That tightrope walk, it brings us right to the crucial background for this whole speech.
The trade stuff.
Exactly. While he's talking self-reliance, the elephant in the room and the source said it was between the lines pretty much everywhere, was the trade friction with the U.S.
Right. He didn't call out the U.S. tariffs directly.
No, but their shadow was definitely there. You could feel it. And the DW News source gave the specifics, which are frankly pretty jarring. It said just last week, Donald Trump hit India with an additional 25% tariff on goods.
Additional, on top of existing ones.
Yeah, which means for some Indian exports, duties could suddenly jump as high as 50%. 50.
Wow, that's significant. That really bites.
It does. And it wasn't just a general tariff. It was broken down. 25% because the U.S. feels India isn't opening its market enough for American consumer goods.
The classic market access complaint.
Right. Lack of reciprocity. And the other 25%, that was tied directly to India still buying a lot of its crude oil from Russia.
Ah, the geopolitical angle, going against U.S. pressure on Russia.
Clearly.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it just highlights the complexity, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, you've got India, which the U.S. calls a key strategic partner, right? Especially in the Indo-Pacific, balancing China.
Deep cooperation there, yeah. Military intel.
But at the same time, it's facing these massive 50% duties from that same partner. It's a real paradox.
Strategic alignment doesn't equal economic harmony.
Not at all. The U.S. sees tariffs as leverage, right? To force India to open up its markets, maybe align more on Russia.
Sure. Standard playbook.
But what seems to be happening, and this speech reinforces it, is that this pressure isn't really working like that. If anything, it seems to be strengthening India's commitment to self-reliance.
Huh. So almost counterproductive for the U.S.
It kind of looks that way. It validates Modi's argument that depending on others is, like he said, a recipe for disaster. It pushes them further down that path.
Fascinating dynamic. How trade actions might just backfire and boost the very thing they're trying to counter.
Exactly.
And this tension, this paradox, strategic partner versus economic friction, leads us to another really sensitive area Modi hit on directly.
Let me guess. Agriculture. Farmers.
You know it. Protecting India's farmers and fishermen. This ties directly into those U.S. trade demands. And Modi's language here was incredibly strong. He even used the third person, which is quite a statement.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He said, and I'm quoting, Modi said, Modi will stand like a wall against any policy threatening our farmers and fishermen. India will never compromise when it comes to protecting the interests of its farmers.
Stand like a wall. That's powerful imagery. Very defiant.
Absolutely. An unyielding line in the sand.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider what the U.S. wants.
Which is?
Significant access to India's huge agricultural market. They want to sell things like maize, soybeans, ethanol, dairy products there.
Big American exports.
Right. But India keeps saying no, not just saying it, but using really high non-tariff barriers.
The hidden walls. Yeah. Not taxes, but regulations, certifications.
Exactly. Complex customs, strict quality rules, packaging requirements, the things that make it super difficult and expensive for U.S. goods to compete.
So effectively blocking access.
Pretty much. And the result, according to the source, talks about a bilateral trade deal between India and the U.S. have all but collapsed.
Wow. So that's a major casualty of this disagreement.
Seems so.
It really raises an important question, though. Why is agriculture such a red line for India? Enough to derail talks with a key partner?
What are the implications?
They're profound. See, for India, agriculture isn't just another economic sector. Yes, it employs hundreds of millions.
A massive part of the population.
Huge. But it's also tied intrinsically to food security for over 1 billion people. It's about rural livelihoods. And it's a massive political base.
The political dimension.
Absolutely critical. Protecting farmers is a political and social necessity, not just economics. Giving way on market access could cause huge domestic unrest, economic instability.
Something no government there could afford.
Exactly. So it signals that certain domestic priorities, especially when tied to a huge voting bloc and basic stability, will trump even major geopolitical trade goals.
Food security as a political bedrock.
Couldn't put it better myself. It's a reminder for any country dealing with India, or frankly, many large nations with agrarian populations.
It really shows how domestic factors shape these international stances, sometimes overriding everything else.
Definitely.
And that focus on the home front, on internal stability, wasn't just in the trade stance. Modi also had some immediate, tangible things for his own people.
The domestic angle. What did he announce?
Well, the source called it a little present. A promise to bring down the goods and services tax, the GST, in October.
Okay, a tax cut. That's always popular.
And the timing is clever. October's when Diwali happens.
Right, the Festival of Lights. Huge spending season.
Exactly. So the goal is clear. Cut the GST, make things cheaper, hopefully get people spending more, boost consumption right around the festival time.
Smart politics, smart economics maybe. Putting money back in pockets, stimulating the economy.
Seems like it. A very practical, immediate benefit. And just as a sort of fun fact, underlining the sheer scale of this whole address.
Well,
The length. He didn't just talk. He set a new record.
Yeah.
Longest Indian Independence Day speech ever.
Get out. How long?
1 hour and 43 minutes.
Wow. That is stamina.
And he broke his own record from the year before.
That's incredible. It says something in itself, doesn't it?
What do you think it says?
Well, the strategic value of the domestic stuff, like the GST cut timed for Diwali, is obvious. Shows responsiveness, boosts the economy, makes people feel looked after.
Right.
But the length itself, it's not just a number. It speaks volumes about his communication style, his political strategy.
How so?
Delivering such a long, comprehensive speech lets him dominate the narrative, right? He directly lays out this huge, overarching vision, domestic, international, linking it all together.
Bypassing the media filter.
Exactly. Connecting directly with millions, weaving narratives of national pride, detailing economic plans, stating foreign policy positions very clearly. It's a powerful way to frame the entire national agenda for the year ahead, asserting leadership.
A marathon performance with a clear purpose. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've gone deep into Modi's Independence Day speech.
A lot to unpack.
Definitely. We've seen this incredibly ambitious, almost audacious vision for self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Bharat, making everything from fertilizers to jets domestically.
A huge undertaking.
Happening against this backdrop of, well, pretty serious global friction, especially trade disputes with the U.S. big tariffs, collapse negotiations.
That tension is key.
Yet amidst all that, India is also clearly focused inward. Domestic prosperity, immediate benefits like tax cuts timed for festivals.
Balancing global ambitions with local needs.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you some real clarity on what's a critical geopolitical development. You're seeing a major power really asserting its economic independence.
Navigating external pressures with, you could say, firm resolve.
And constantly prioritizing its own stability and growth. It's a complex game India is playing.
Multi-layered for sure.
Now, as always, we want to leave you with something to chew on. A provocative thought.
Go for it.
How does a country like India actually pull off this comprehensive self-reliance in a world that's so interconnected? Can they do it without risking more isolation or maybe even limiting their own tech progress by reducing global collaboration?
That's the tightrope walk we talked about.
Exactly. And thinking bigger. If India does succeed, or even just make significant progress down this path, what are the long-term global ripples? What does it mean for supply chains, for international partnerships, maybe even for the future of globalization itself if other nations start doing the same?
Big questions, the kind that reshape the world order.
That's something to think about.